Shalom, Goyim. This one is going to be about, is premium worth it? Geez, where to begin? There's so much to say and talk about with that subject alone. The elites weaponize social media against the poor, the cattle. Like lawyers call non-lawyers Goyim, it means cattle. Non-lawyers are cattle to lawyers, if you know what I mean. Globalists, elites, the 1%. I think Bilderberg is getting a little closer on the nose. Anyway, Elon Musk is not Jewish, neither is Donald Trump, but they definitely are honorary Jewish, like Jewish at heart. I'm not sure who the Jewiest president we ever had is. Is it Elon Musk? Because Elon Musk is to Donald Trump what David Sassoon was to the King of England, what the Sacklers were to Trump, Biden, Obama, you name it, what the banks are to the state. If you look at the Bible, Joseph and the Pharaoh, for example, Yosef ben Yaakov, right, the son of Jacob, who was sold into slavery, Potiphar's wife, yeah, that guy, he is literally symbolic of the banks, and Pharaoh is the state. So you have the money in the government, the bankers in the government, the banks in the state. You could argue the banks manipulated the government, and so Joseph manipulated Pharaoh by interpreting his dream for him to sort of puppet Pharaoh to gain all this wealth. The bank gained more wealth through the government. The government was the vessel, the tool. Excuse me, I got microwave going. And so social media is just another aspect of this. Now I'm going to go to the old Bible. This one is the Tanakh, which is Jewish translated with Rashi and Rambam commentary, along with other wise sages and rabbis. Okay, here we are. Yosef undertakes the journey to Yaakov. Yehuda steps forward. Joseph identifies himself. Man, I practically opened it right up to the correct thing. Oy vey, oy 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 vey, oy 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 vey. Hmm. There you go. All right, here we are. Daughter of Potiphar. I'm just gonna pause it while I find the right commentary. Okay, here we are. This is a Genesis 47:13 through 27, according to the English speakers, or Bereshit Aleph. No, Shlicha. And lo ani lo medaveret ivrit. But 47:13 through 27, the narrative reverts to the famine and describes how Yosef used his immense economic power to accumulate nearly all the wealth of Egypt and Canaan and nearly all Egyptian land for Pharaoh. Now, how is that relevant today with Jews and a Gentile elite, the upper class whites, right? The El Elyon of the Goyim. And the El Elyon of the Yehudim. The money and the power. Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the Sackler family, and any president. David Sassoon and the Kings, right? Yeah. There's another commentary here. Oh yeah, the Egyptians became Pharaoh's serfs. This is Jewish commentary, 47:16 in the Art Scroll Tanakh. Joseph's master plan was to impoverish the Egyptians and make them totally dependent upon the king. Whites and Jews working together, or in this case, Egyptians and Jews. As for the nation, 47:21, as for the nation, he resettled it by cities, i.e. from city to city. Joseph transferred the population from one city to the other to establish the monarchy's undisputed ownership of the land and to demonstrate that individuals no longer had claim to their former property. Oy vey. Gotta get the other pizza. Hang on. Now, some of you might say, Gabe, what does this have to do with premium? Everything. So if you look at this in terms of a hierarchy, right, where you have the banker and the government, the top of the financial economic hierarchy, and the government sort of military state hierarchy, you can metaphorically analyze this to like muscle in the brain, right? The brain is useless without the muscle is useless without the brain. They're like a mutually parasitic relationship. They just parasite off each other and, control each other. Well, they use social media now to accomplish these same goals: demographic reduction and replacement, replacing populations. My family had land that was in our family for generations, since the 1600s, Spanish land grants. My dad sold my inheritance because he was corrupted by the drug and sex revolution, which is since the 1960s, or even before that, but really it accelerated in the 1960s, drug propaganda and porn propaganda. Drugs and porn to destroy the Christianity, the moral fabric of the Christian West, and therefore make it malleable. They're doing that through Twitter and all the other social medias. It's literally grifter wars and propaganda wars. And so when I was paying for premium, I thought I could fight it, right? A little serf class could beat the pharaoh and the banker. Joseph was not a good guy. He was a banker. He's beyond good and evil. He's just power and money, right? Money is power. Yeah, Jewish. And I thought, oh, right. I'm going to fall for this grift. My counter propaganda campaign will compete with their marijuana pushing propaganda campaign, right? So when I paid $17 a month for a full 12 months. Or 11 months, I think it was. And the promise that, Twitter made me, the, exchange of goods and services, was that my content would be broadcasted, my reach would be increased. That's not what happened. If my anti-marijuana campaign was genuinely disseminating, even within 5 or 10 miles around me, just the city of Lynchburg, Virginia, then the marijuana use would be decreasing in my environment. It's not. You know why? Well, they're just weaponizing social media. Despite paying for a greater reach, my posts are being suppressed. The data distribution and dissemination is not what they say it is. And so it's like a more enhanced and weaponized version of shadow banning, right? So they give the illusion that, oh yeah, people are seeing your posts. No, they're not. People are seeing the marijuana posts because the marijuana pushers are on the same team. They're the Joseph and the Pharaoh in the Bible, right? They're the David Sassoons and the Sacklers and, all these drug pushers. They have the money and therefore they have the power and therefore they control the government with money. And corrupt politicians are bribable. It's fucking corruption all the way down to the core of the banks and the government, of the financial institutions, the media regulation, all that stuff. Social media is weaponized. And so I'm paying to get screwed. I'm paying my conquerors to assist their conquering me, right? And that's not just metaphorically or an abstract thing. That is a tangible, quantifiable process that is occurring. The agenda is being implemented through social media. Memes cannot stop it. They control the data regulation, dissemination, communication networks, the lines of communication, as it was called back in World War II. Yeah, so electronic communication regulation through social media, texting, etc. That's why we're way past the point of revolution. That's why the only thing that's kept corrupt politicians honest throughout history is the public execution of corrupt politicians. But they control the masses with social media to prevent revolution and instead institute their own revolutions, like the Black Lives Matter thing against, white Christian Trump support. It's all a scam. It's all a grift. Like, this is all just fucking pageantry. This is bullshit that you're thinking is happening, but it's all social media. It's all pixels on a screen. Right? And I'm supposed to pay for that shit to deal with fucking morons. And when I say fucking morons, I mean fucking morons. The goyim of social media, as well as the Jews, they're either really dumb or really degenerate. Very, very rarely will you meet an authentic, moral social media user, because it's weaponized against morality and against intelligence. It's weaponized to push an IQ decline and a moral decline. Like, that's literally what they're doing with, drug propaganda and porn propaganda being boosted. And any posts that are against the establishment, because this is the establishment implementing agendas through social media, that gets suppressed. Just like this video will be suppressed. I've uploaded these videos so many times to YouTube, Twitter, BitChute, you fucking name it, Brighteon, and it changes nothing. And it's all true. So let me give you some examples here, just one sec. All right. So here's a quote-unquote white supremacist named, excuse me, one sec. I wonder if I can balance this on the ranch bottle. Named Scott Scribner. Now, Scott posted some fucking MAGA Christian porn, right? That is literally soft porn, but it's fucking porn, right? He's got a gap. He corrected me one time in his space saying, oh, Nazi is derogatory. It's nationalist socialist, buddy. Yeah, well, the Nationalist Socialists burned pornography. Hilariously enough, Goyim TV posts stuff like this. Jews are behind pornography. Pornography is used for white genocide, to, race mix and homosexuality, etc., all this stuff that's causing a decline in the white birth rate. So they've identified pornography as a decline in the white birth rate, and also they post porn. Even though the Jews are behind the porn, they post the porn. It's so dumb and full of shit. It's insane. It's hypocritical. It's fucking, yeah. So when I see that, I immediately think, well, Handsome Truth is an example of a warrior white. That is a high testosterone guy. So I definitely like that about him. He's not a pussy. So many white guys are pussies. They're like hard on the internet, but in real life they're like, oh, just smoke the weed and watch the TikTok going, racism bad. So that's cool. I like that about Handsome Truth. Hilariously enough, he promotes like anti-sobriety messages, and he gets sober whites to drink, even though drugs and alcohol have been really bad for whitey in the long run. Right? You look at all those clips of homeless whites strung out on drugs in all these cities like Philadelphia, etc. Clearly, polysubstance use was a causal component to this decline of whiteness and white power economically, politically, etc. in the United States. And so you get the white supremacists pushing the very thing that's causing the destruction of whites, specifically drugs and porn. That makes sense, right? But it gets funnier. So this is a video about The Killer Nun of Belgium by Summer Sanchez. This is one of those true crime things that I've been watching.
Big time. The patients had always loved Sister Godfrida.
She is talking about Sister Godfrida. So Sister Godfrida in the 70s, these are all white people. This is 95% white Christian America. Sister Godfrida had a tumor removed from her brain, and that caused her behavior to change. So she literally had a brain injury that caused all kinds of mental illness. And master race, white people, are so dumb, dishonest, and full of shit that none of them are honest enough to say, hey, look, now she's clearly fucked up in the head because they cut out part of her brain. We shouldn't just let her roam free and do whatever she wants. No, no, no. It's this weird, retarded whiteness of, ain't nothing wrong with her. Helping the mentally ill is bad. Like, we could prevent all this bad shit from happening with care, treatment, and support, but we are white people. We fucking hate the mentally ill. Fuck them. And so they just let her go along like everything was fine, just like me and so many others. Oh yeah, we'll just pretend there's nothing wrong with him. And that means there's nothing wrong with him, right? And nothing bad's gonna happen because we're not treating this mental illness that he very specifically keeps asking for help for. Instead, we're gonna treat him like a crybaby and watch what happens. Fucking genius, right? So Sister Godfrida ended up killing a whole bunch of people because, like a bunch of fucking retards, these white Christians put her back into her job as a nurse in this monastery because I think it was, whites are fucking greedy as shit. They're the money people. They're economic whores. And so it's just cost effective because she's working for free. She's a nun. You don't have to pay her. You don't have to pay health care. You just send these fucking people to the monastery and Christian, tithing covers it. Cost effective. We're reducing, we're maximizing profit while externalizing cost. Right? Yeah, that was the smart white people. And then the dumb white people, oh yeah, she had her fucking brain cut out and she's fine. Nothing wrong with her. So she killed a whole bunch of people. I can't remember the exact number, but it was a lot. I could probably Google it real quick, but why bother? Google's just as bad as Twitter. I post videos to YouTube and it'll say 0 views, but I'll get likes and comments. How am I getting likes and comments but 0 views, right? It's all software engineer manipulation. Just like Twitter, weaponized social media. So Sister Godfrida is just one example of how whites are so full of shit, they're causing their own destruction and blaming everyone else. Not that Jews are not accountable. There are Jews that are exploiting this weakness. It's vulnerability, white pride, white intoxication, white lust, white addiction. These are all mechanisms to be cultivated and exploited environmentally, right? They're just activating genes through environmental products like porn, marijuana, etc. Whites are fucking too proud to admit that they're fucking, susceptible to these vulnerabilities, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so the next one is Moments After Beheading His Wife by Police Insider. Now, if you watch this video, there are some key moments and key observations. One is the sheriff who shows up. This is all white people, by the way. There's some black cops present, but the sheriff is clearly an old white guy. An old southerner, you can tell by his accent and his attitude. And he says, "Oh, crazy boy." So clearly this man already had a history of mental illness. The dad said, I asked them to hold him because the guy had called the cops on himself that he was crazy, and the cops fucking took him to the insane asylum, and the insane asylum just let him go. Like, oh, yeah, we're white. We're just gonna say, fuck it, man. Nothing bad could happen. And so he goes home and he chops his wife's fucking head off. He decapitates his wife. And they keep mentioning substance, and so I'm automatically assuming this is another cannabis-induced psychosis homicide. It blows my mind that, elites like Elon Musk absolutely love this stuff. These are the moments where I think, like, Jews will hold hands and dance and sing for joy like Hava Nagila were killing the white people, right? No, Elon Musk and Trump are all about this. Their marijuana legalization policies and their bosses who are pushing marijuana legalization, these are the outcomes that are deliberately being, caused by these policies. They are totally okay with collateral damage. This is fucking intentional. This is deliberate. This is by design. They are deliberately causing problems out of greed that whites would otherwise prevent. And the greed blinds them to the truth. Guy had a mental illness. Marijuana activates and exacerbates it. He chopped his wife's fucking head off. So not only did he have a history of mental illness, law enforcement knew about his history of mental illness. He called the cops on himself to get help for his fucking mental illness, to prevent bad things from happening. The state-provided mental health care just fucking failed. Just let him go. Fuck it, man. And he went home and he chopped his wife's fucking head off. And they test his blood and it comes out positive for marijuana and cocaine. So polysubstance. Now I know marijuana, it has THC, and that cannabinoids mimic reverse neurotransmitters that affect GABA and glutamate, which, effectively regulate dopamine and serotonin. It's either a brake or an accelerant for dopamine and serotonin levels, and cocaine is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So the polysubstance is a causal component. Weed and cocaine made him go crazy because he had a pre-existing mental illness, an underlying genetic condition maybe, or maybe non-genetic, but an underlying condition nonetheless, that he fucking chopped his wife's fucking head off because of drugs, because of marijuana. I guarantee he used marijuana before cocaine. It was fucking gateway drug effect. If you did like a timeline of his life and substance use across his life. Instead of the truth, right, these YouTube channels, because you can watch a ton of these true crime stories, and none of them mention marijuana, which is the result of Elon Musk and all these drug pushers pushing marijuana in Virginia, for example. I get ads, Elon Musk or Twitter, whoever really runs Twitter, the CIA, the deep state, the Jews, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, whoever the fuck it is, right? They are trying to psychologically manipulate me and cyberbully me into buying premium by offering triggering, images of marijuana selling ads. So social engineering through advertising, they're pushing marijuana, knowing these are the outcomes that marijuana causes. They're not stupid. They know this. They know far better than me what they're doing. So, on another true crime channel that I used to love, Red Tree Stories, psychopath murders his wife for not putting out. Now, I am not the sheriff of social media. And if I was, I would love that. I would fucking ban the shit out of drug propaganda and porn propaganda because the FBI, the deep state, none of them ever answer the question, why is anti-Semitism hate speech but porn is okay? And drug propaganda, why is that okay? Why is it okay to push weed, but it's not okay to fucking, post that marijuana causes rapes, homicides, suicides, vehicular fatalities, the death of toddlers, etc., right? Population reduction and replacement through marijuana. And the weird thing is I'm constantly being proven right about this, but I'm still getting censored and insulted by whites like Scott Scribner, who are the architects of their own destruction and blaming the Jews. And I don't know who Red Tree Stories is, but his voice sounds white, so he could be white. When he posts a video saying psychopath murders his wife for not putting out, this is a blatant lie. This is directing attention away from the true cause, which is the drugs setting off his mental illness. Drug-induced psychopathy caused the homicide. So this is almost a propaganda, running to protect the agenda of drug implementation. And this guy is deliberately deflecting focus away from the real cause of the homicide and instead putting it to misogyny. Oh, his wife didn't want to give him, the sex, and that's why he beheaded her. Nothing to do with his fucking pre-existing mental illness, which is documented and verified in the body cam footage by the testimony, the verbal, expressions of the fucking sheriff who responded to the scene and had to arrest the guy multiple times for his psychosis and put him in the fucking crazy home, where the dad requested they keep a hold on him for 2 more days, and they just said, fuck it and let him go. Like, clearly there was pre-existing mental illness that is documented, and drugs in his system via the blood test. Right, they can come out in urine and saliva as well. And I'm supposed to pay for this? Fuck you. Instead of paying for premium, and I have a lot of great posts that would actually help the same people that are fucking me with Twitter, because they, provoke and incite engagement. And user engagement means more Twitter users, more interactions, more purchasing of, Twitter products and products advertised through Twitter, more ad engagement, more user engagement. Like, I'm helping them with my posts, provoking and inciting, thought and emotion and things like that, and engagement. While they're fucking me over, I'm supposed to hand them money in their open hand while they knife me in the back with the other hand with this kind of shit? You go fuck yourself. All of you. Fucking Elon Musk, Twitter, YouTube. Fuck you all, dude. CIA, deep state. The CIA is watching me in fucking psychosis and then putting memes on the 9gag to tell me they're watching me in psychosis. That sounds crazy, but it's true. I can prove it. Well, I don't know if it's the CIA, but who else would it be? Anyway, so instead of paying for premium this month, which I do have some incentive to do, and that's Liberty University wanted me to do like an interview and post my story, and the quickest and most effective way to do that is on their Twitter. Is it worth $22 a month, which jumped up from $17 a month? Because I don't like the half ads or none of that shit. My articles that I wrote fucking disappeared once I couldn't pay for fucking premium anymore. What a fucking ripoff. Instead, I purchased books. I'm reading Learning and Memory, a neuroscience book, which hopefully will enhance my, metacognitive abilities to read and retain the information and therefore get my grades back up. Because I'm only 2 semesters away from a bachelor's degree, but secondhand marijuana setting off my schizophrenia last semester caused my GPA to drop down to a 3.3. And nobody gives a shit. The white Christians don't give a shit. My roommates are white. I get these fucking white Christians and non-Christian whites on Twitter telling me whites are the master race, and so therefore it's all the Jew. My roommates are white Christians, and they are fucking gullible. They're very smart. They have a practical intelligence. These are people that produce food, generate income, hardworking, fucking, all that shit. But they're still brainwashed by TikTok and Facebook and Instagram to be pro-marijuana and start the decline of the white American English with Ebonics, with, integration and desegregation. That is tangibly visible with my roommates. They say TikTok slogans like, bruh, you're a fucking white man. You're supposed to be better than that, sir. Bruh. Elon Musk fucking programmed you through your smartphone? Is that what you're fucking telling me? Master race? Does that make fucking sense? So I'm gonna read books. Fuck it. I've got a lineup I purchased online. It might be heavily censored at this point, but Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And, neuroscience cognitive strategies for learning to enhance my grades, hopefully. I don't see it justified to pay for premium, given that they're fucking me over anyway. Like, if paying for premium was worth it, then marijuana use in my environment would decrease. A few weeks ago, someone smoked marijuana around here and it went in through the air intake on the heater cooling unit. And the whole house was full of weed smoke. That put me in a really bad depression, like suicidal, very, very suicidal state. No one gave a shit. I have a paranoid theory that it was one of the Twitter people, right? They actually obviously fucking know my location. They fucking know my IP address. And I think someone said, it was like gang stalking with the weed. Oh, quick, go to his house and smoke weed near him so it'll suck in the vent and his house will be full of weed. Right? Could have been a Jew, could have been a white, could have been anybody. But I think that's what happened. And I think the government knows it and they're not stopping it. So no accountability for government. No accountability for government corruption. Nobody's fucking stopping this. Twitter is just fulfilling some sort of psychological niche, but has no tangible effect on the environment that is positive. It's not reducing the marijuana use to the point that I could just go back and forth to Liberty without risking involuntary exposure to secondhand marijuana, nor get away from it by staying in the house. That is a scam. That is a ripoff. That is a grift. Hence, social media's grifter wars are not worth funding, and I'm going to read books instead of fucking being on Twitter.